turned the month to February, and delighted that we've got a fantastic TMD setting, which is Eastfield by Mick Worrell.
I really love the cars in this scene: Vauxhall Cavalier, Ford Granada, Ford Escort, maybe a Lancia to the left, not sure what it is to the right, maybe a Mitsubishi, maybe you'll know.
On the calendar and the plan so far, we're 3 days in, and today's Wednesday the 5th. So the things to do today are to print the Pico track plans and then agree the final design for the Fiddle yard. I've been thinking long and hard about the design of the point work that will come into the Fiddle yard. Remember, the Fiddle yard will be behind here, it's hidden. So in the cavity you can see there is where this Fiddle yard's going to eventually be located. So, but I'm mocking it up here to get it absolutely as I want it, because it's got to all be fixed down, each piece separated and then placed individually behind in situ when it's got the wiring and the point motors all fitted. So it's been an interesting time thinking about it. Thought through a number of different designs, did a poll on Instagram and got quite a bit of feedback, and a lot of feedback was to use curved points coming into the Fiddle yard. And having printed off the Pico track plans this morning and put them into position, or various positions, this is the one that I think I favour the most and seems to fit very well. And as you can see, I've got two sets, which is what these Fiddle yards are designed. I've got a 7-car cross-country set, which fits nicely on the right-hand road, which you may remember from previous videos has to feed in to a point onto track 5 where the current GNAR HST is sat. So that fits perfectly there in a 7-car formation, and the 8-car formation of the HST fits nicely, and I can also get 9-car formations in when I start to build my Class 91 sets. So I'm really pleased with that. It's great to get the trains out, put them on, really brings it to life. You can measure all you want with a ruler, but it doesn't bring it to life. And once you get your locomotives and your train sets out, then it really brings it to life and gives you a little bit of a flutter in your stomach. You only wish it was all wide open, you could start to play. But I'm gonna have to bide my time and get this right, and once I've got it right and I know it's perfect, or as perfect as I can make it, then it will work well.
To get to the real life plan, I actually used AnyRail software. Some of you may have used it already, and as you can see, I looked at two different solutions, one using left and right hand points and the other using curved points. The curved points have the benefit of a smoother transition and getting to 6 tracks sooner than the straightforward left and right hand points, which also do risk derailments, as many of you have commented on my part 2 video.
Just a quick look at my these two HST sets. The one on the right is the Key Model World exclusive cross-country service. This was the last farewell tour with the HST 40 named DVU, and at the other end we've got the Lara diesel depot in Intercity Executive Grey. This model in the foreground, the GNL model, is class 43113, the Highlands. I bought this second hand and I fitted a Sugar Cube sound system in it, and I'm really pleased with how that sounds. I can't wait to get that running in the track. So yeah, I think they look really smart sat there. I've got 2 other HST sets and a few more to get, to fit with the theme of my layout, which is East Coast. Anything that's run on the East Coast on a regular basis, it doesn't really matter what timeline as long as they're diesels. So there'll be other sets coming in here as well, particularly for the Deltics that I bought recently. Here's the view from the other end of the set, with the GNR model being supported with the City of Inverness naming. And as you can see, just over there we have the Intercity 125 Lara diesel depot in the Intercity Executive Grey, pulling the cross-country service. So yeah, very impressive. Now it's time to put the trains away, sadly, but it's great to see them on the tracks. The points have now been ordered at the model centre in Whitby, so they should be here tomorrow. But in the meantime, on a very cold Monday in February, I'm going to start doing the north side, and to keep myself busy. One of the benefits of getting the input from the YouTube community of modelers is that a number of people contacted me and said, I think you should put some longitudinal supports underneath the baseboards for the fiddle yard. So basically underneath these baseboards that would run from here to here. Excuse my dog. And as you can see, I've just placed the first one in there, which will go down the middle. I think some people call them joiners noggins. Might not be the right expression, but and I'm in the process of cutting those. So for the people that suggested that to me, absolutely fantastic, thank you very much. And I'll get that done whilst I'm still waiting for the points to be delivered. I'm utilising the first generation battens that I showed you in part 1 that I took off and replaced with longer ones, so I'm able to utilise these and cut these down to the specific size. And the gap between each upright is different, so it has to be specifically measured. And as you can see, someone taught me at the Railway Modeller Society to measure twice and cut once, and I employ that now. It's a really good tip. So that's all the longitudinal supports done, as you can see here, all the way down the fiddle yard. And the way I envisage they're going to go is they're going to be offset the centre slightly, one slightly left, one slightly right, one slightly left. If you think that's the right way to go, do give us a thumbs up. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. And as I said before, really shows the value of all the comments and people looking at your videos and saying, I wouldn't do it like that, I'd do it like this, because there are risks of warping. So they will have strength going across and they'll have strength down the middle. Right, thanks to the YouTube modelling community, I've now got lots of tips to add these noggins in, and this is what I've done. I'm showing you a wide angle view, makes this first one look a little bit off centre, but they're as reasonably central as I could make them. So thanks to everyone that had that input, and it was a bit of a faff getting them in, but I've got them in, and that reassures me now that baseboards in the fiddle yard won't warp, because they'll be screwed down longitudinally as well as latitudinally. The points have now arrived, which is good news, but they took 3 days from ordering, which is a bit disappointing because I was hoping to get them the next day. I don't know if many of you have had the same problem in the UK with the supplier TMC. I've had a number of problems with them actually on different things that I've ordered, where mistakes have happened and you don't find out till later, and then they make contact with you and say, oh yeah, we'll put that right, and you'll go then to the back of the queue and it'll take another 3, 4, 5 days to get things sorted out. I mean, I order from them because actually their prices are quite good. These are SL18E187, so they're electro frogs. The left turnout curves, which fit with the track plan that we saw earlier in the video. So I've got the 5 turnouts, and also I ordered SLE 196, which is the medium radius left hand, which will go on this to feed in from the 5th track to the 6th track, where the cutout is further down the fiddle yard. So what I'm going to do now is just make sure I can get them into the right shape, and then that'll complete this part of the project. So I've got the fine standard rail joiners from Pico, code 75, which is what these are. I'm going for Electro Frog. I'm going to put point motors on each of these, and specifically where I'm going to have to be careful where these points go because of these crossbars here, and therefore I can't have a point with a point motor there, so I'm going to have to move them and adjust them to wherever they're going to best be suited. And of course, as I showed earlier, I've put these longitudinal supports in as well. Now on these baseboard for these 2 sections, the longitudinal supports are further back, whereas we go down the layout they're more in the middle. So I pushed them as far back as I could do to allow for this to happen. Now if I need to move those and bring them this way, then I'll do that, because it's important that I try to get the right flow coming into this fiddle yard from this point here through this cutout that I made in one of the braces that goes across the uprights. So let's build the first stage of the plan. So the first challenge I can see is actually how do you get 2 side-by-side turnouts to also join up with number 1. Let's call this number 1, number 2, number 3. I can't get number 2 and number 3 aligned. They touch at these points here. So do I need to put some short track in beforehand, here and here, to allow those to be closer together, or do I need to nibble away some of the plastic sleepers so that I can get these 2 closer together? Might be a question for my Instagram followers for a quick response. Plan is then, this is just a fixed bit of track, just for effect, is to have a 3rd radius curve coming into that comes around here, from behind the baseboard round here, and then that will allow another left-hand turnout here for the mainline tracks, potentially as one option, or the other option is this will be a raised area here and the fiddle yard will go underneath through a tunnel or underneath a bridge into the fiddle yard area there, and with the tracks over the top. So I put the outside track line on that will go to the 6th road, and I can see here that this point here won't work in that position because there's a batten going across, so we need to move that. So I can afford to come across further, and I could come to about there, and that means that I can get a point motor there and a point motor there, point motor there. So this is the line that will go straight, the 6th road, and this needs to be 50 millimeters away from the edge so that it doesn't catch on the underside of the superfoil. So 50 centimeters will take us to there, which is great. This is the outside line which will join up, and these are great because good position here for point motors, good position here for point motors, and a good position here for point motors. These point motors will be starting around 12 centimeters and 16 centimeters in, and if I just check that to make sure I haven't got a longitudinal batten coming across, 12 and 16, perfect. There's nothing underneath with the longitudinal batten that I put there to stop the point motors going in. So a bit of luck there. Happy with that. So the question then is just how do I get these two together given the touching points here. So I've hit my first challenge in trying to join these points together, and that's to do with being able to fit the points closely because of touching up against the sleepers. So my question was, do I need to add a little piece of straight track here? And then the second point is, with the point motors, they won't go side by side. Because they're touching if I get them at the right position. But maybe I could turn point motors round the opposite way round. Now that is that a solution? Because on reading the literature from DCC Concepts, it says that these motors have the ability to swap direction that you can program. But I'm not sure if swap direction means that you can have one facing one way and another facing the other. A problem that I've now found in trying to put these curved turnouts together is that hopefully the camera can pick it up, but the sleepers actually cross over if you try to put two turnouts onto this one turnout here. So the general feedback I was getting from the Instagram community last night when I was trying to do this is that you can nibble away at these sleepers on either side to be able to accommodate them, or as I've done here, you can add a 25mm piece of track which will go something like that, which then pushes the point further out. The benefit of doing that is I'm going to use DCC Concepts Cobalt IP digital motors for the fiddle yard. I've got 6 of them for this side, and they will go like that and like that. So they do fit together underneath the board and they're not crossing over each other, where if I was to nibble away at the track, I still have a problem where the cobalt motors are on top of each other and don't fit together. Some people will say, well, use different motors, but the motors that I've got are the motors, so I want to utilize these. The other potential solution is to reverse one of the motors round, so I could do that if I nibbled away and put the motors as they are now, and they have the ability to be able to swap direction, so that's quite a good thing. But on reflection overnight, after thinking about it, I think I just prefer adding this 25mm piece of track, joining them up here, and then putting the motors the right way around. This is the first time that I'm actually doing any layouts of any kind, so it's the first time that I'm laying track, and it's the first time that I will be placing point motors, so I'd rather just do things in a standard way for now until I can build my confidence and knowledge. And an extra 25mm track here is fine. So I've just put the 25mm piece in, and I've also added isolating rail joiners on here and here, and I assume I'm doing that right from what I've read. Metal rail joiners on these sides and plastic ones on here to isolate those. So that will go together
onto this piece there, and then this left turnout card will go there, and then these point motors will go like so. And yes, there's enough clearance underneath. So after some messing around, I think I've now got the point track plan in place, which I'll just show you now and see what you think. So we have the single entry track which comes into the first left turnout, which is a curved one. That branches off into two, which you can see there, which then those two branch off into four, and the bottom one is coming round to make the six. So I think it looks a lot better with those 25mm spacers in, which offsets where the point motors go. So the next video is going to be about me learning how to fix and wire the track, as well as fix all those important point motors. So stay tuned for the next video in about a week or so time. Thanks for watching.